It's a great day to be rich. It is a great day to be rich. Realize I am consciousness happening. Rich friends, we have our special guest today, Nurse Blue. If you've been on the fence and you've been carrying everything, feeling like outside everything looks great, but inside it's kind of like a wreck and no one knows what's going to happen. Well, today we have some support for you with Nurse Blue. And we're just going to go ahead and get to talk and get into it. And this is a casual conversation. So you all just get to hear us talk. Uh, and Nurse Blue is what you go by, but I know you by Latrice.
That's right.
Exactly. So Latrice, I love that you go by Nurse Blue. Tell me, how did you come up? What does the blue mean?
Okay. Well, first of all, Vivian, I just want to thank you so much for inviting me to have this conversation with you today. And I want to say hello to your audience out there. Blue has become not just my favorite color, honey, but a way of life. And it's actually an acronym that I actually coined from my dad. Yes, his name was Purvis Man, the Blues Man. And about back in 2022, my dad, he transitioned off the planet, but I decided to I dropped the S from blues because that was a genre of music that he was mostly associated with. And I kept blue, and it just kind of created a world around it where B stands for build, L stands for love, U stands for unite, and E stands for empower. And that's what soul health is all about. And so I share with people in my work as Nurse Blue how to keep your soul in its healthiest position in the state of blue.
Awesome. Awesome. I love that. And then I know that you are a nurse as well. I love
Yes.
the blue part. It just really resonates. It's like an anthem. It keeps you motivated and keeps people engaged with what's really going on, what
Yes.
life is supposed to be like. Similar. So I noticed that you are also a nurse, and I was just curious, how long have you been a nurse? I've known you, but I didn't know how long your nursing history has, your nursing career has been.
Yeah. Well, I've put it this way. I graduated from the School of Nursing back in 1997, so a long time ago, right? But I didn't go right into nursing. What I did was not in the traditional form. I did not go into
Mhm.
the hospital setting. Interestingly enough, after I graduated from nursing school, I actually started working for my family's business. So I started taking the nursing process into the community when I lived in Chicago.
Oh,
And
wow.
yes, and then later on, I had a personal, I had some personal issues that happened in my health, which required me to learn that what I actually was taught in nursing school did not prepare me as a healer. And
Oh,
so, yes, and so I was diagnosed with an autoimmune deficiency called psoriasis, which is a skin disorder, and also it's an autoimmune deficiency that can impact you with arthritis. Arthritis ran in my family, and I decided that it had to run past me. So when I could not get my answers from the traditional medical perspective, other than I would be on a medication for the rest of my life, and I did not want to sign up for that life sentence. Okay,
uh-huh.
I just did not want to do that. I then had taken the brave journey of going down this path of holistic health, and I became a wellness coach over the years. So I was trained as a nurse, did not go into nursing right away. Later
Uh-huh.
became a health and wellness coach back in about 15 years ago, and started operating from a wellness space. Then I went back to nursing
Mhm.
and started practicing in nursing. And then I brought it all together with what I've learned over the past, I would say, 30 years. So,
Okay.
yeah, so I took a non traditional role. I started out traditional, then moved into what healing was, and have come back to bring healing to the nursing space.
Wow. And that's typically the path that, is most impactful in a sense and has long term, exposure for us. What did nursing teach you about the human soul that you couldn't have learned anywhere else?
Mm. A great question. That's really a great question. I would say what nursing taught me is that oftentimes patients, clients aren't always honest about what they're going through, and the soul never lies. So, what I learned through nursing, as well as through my training, is
Uh-huh.
how to help my clients to tap into the healing force within themselves, that
Mm,
many of us, although a lot of people are waking up to it, many of us have never been introduced to, and that's the soul, which is the software system of the body. So, what nursing taught me to do is to, the nursing process itself, to assess, to plan, um, to implement, to evaluate. But I do so from a soul level, and what nursing here in the Western form has really focused on is the physical body. So to experience true healing, it's to go beyond the physical nature and to tap into the invisible part of ourselves, and which makes my work extremely interesting because people are looking for other options outside of, if they've been diagnosed with something, taking medication or what have you, and they're looking for
mhm,
holistic, more natural ways that are available to us to help us recenter, to rebalance, and to heal.
mhm. And so, I mean, I like that approach that you look at it from a holistic perspective, that it's not just the medication, like you said, for the body, but also inwardly, there's the healing, and you teach that. And if you don't mind, share just a little bit about your method of teaching that healing. Um, you know, if you don't mind, can you expound a little bit on that?
Absolutely. So, the work that I do in soul health, I like to refer to it as it's radical self love, because
Hmm.
what it really does require you to do is to move out of the social norms of expecting for something or someone or something outside of ourselves to fix us, and
Hmm.
taking that bold step to go inside. So there is something that I've coined, because we live in a very toxic environment. We talk about toxicity in our foods. We talk about toxicity in the environment. There's something I refer to as soul toxins that I help people to identify with. And
Hmm.
those soul toxins are oftentimes those emotions that we do not own, we don't recognize, but we carry. And we all carry some form of soul toxins here. So whether it's shame, guilt, fear, anger, pride, what have you, those toxins oftentimes lead to disease. Those are the toxins that build that chronic stress that we hear about all the time. So, what I first like to do is assess where people are on the scale of consciousness, where I can identify what are the soul toxins that could be blocking their nervous system? What are the soul toxins that can be blocking their confidence? What are the soul toxins that could be leading to that disease? And from that standpoint, I like to curate, if you will, or customize a nurse wellness plan. I believe in releasing to increase, right? So we
Hmm.
detox, because what soul toxins are, those are the internal emotional states that we have to see and identify, because we can't cure, we can't heal anything that we're not willing to confront. And
Hmm.
so through the detoxing the body, we're not just detoxing the body through a 3 or 7 or 21 or a 30-day fast, detox. We're also detoxing the soul at the same time. And what I love to do, I also, which is very unique from for most practitioners, I incorporate musical medicine, which is a genre of music that I refer to as blue soul music. So yes, I am a nurse that has her own genre of music to build, love,
Okay.
unite, and empower. Right? Because
Hmm.
when we're transforming anything, when we're going from where we are to the next level, oftentimes the biggest things that we have to do outside of you know identifying the beliefs that keep us stuck and changing our emotional states, we definitely have to change our will, and that's a hard thing to do, especially when we have habits that we have been
Hmm.
living with for many years. So that music is that transformational tool. It's like when music enters your body, it moves something. And I have identified the best music on the planet, Vivian. Yes, and I'm not a DJ. I am a musicologist, okay?
I love it. And I love the one that you prepared for me. I mean, I really enjoyed it. Um, and it does do that. And that's something, I don't hear many people talk about, how music really is a detoxification.
Yes, it's medicine. It is medicine for the soul. Yes. And I am here to shout that out loud. Yes.
Exactly. So I like that concept of the music being there. I love music, and the one you shared with me, I'm like really like I am. It was I
Yes,
am,
the power of I am. That's the
the power of I
prescription.
am, and that is so fascinating because I actually have it like on play now as a part of my rotation, because it
Good.
really, I could feel the energy shift and how I could actually just go into what flow easier, if that makes
Yes.
sense.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And
It's
it's
not, it takes me out of my head in a sense. It moves in my heart. And that's what, and I, in the selection and then the way you talked through the process was just really, and it was just really like you were there for sure.
yes.
And it felt like it was just a natural progression of just moving through and my energy. And I can, and being that, we both work with energy quite often, you could feel the vibration shift.
Yes. And that's what it's designed to do. And
And mhm.
no, what I was going to say is the one thing about music is that you can overdose on music and you just get it, and your body just get better and better.
Mhm.
Unlike other prescriptions, well, that's why we have to that's why we have dosing parameters, because some you overdose on some medication, you're out of here, right?
Uh-huh.
So this is the kind of medicine or vitamins that we need to keep us, particularly entrepreneurs, keep us in a high vibrational state so we can bring our best selves to everything we do, everything we touch, every person we work with.
That is so key there that you shared that, because a lot of times we operate with just from the cognitive, the
Yes.
thinking, but there you bring it together that it's the music that shifts the energy, because I know my default is cognitive,
Yes.
and I
Yes.
have to engage myself intentionally for the music.
Yes. Yeah. And that's why we have to be in a state of mind and heart coherence, where
Exactly.
we are able to balance out the two most important things, our mind and our heart. And music has a beautiful way of shifting us in a moment's notice. It has a beautiful way of taking us back to a time in our life that we enjoyed. I mean, think about this. The number one movie perhaps in the world, I know it was last week, I don't know what it is this week, is Michael, right?
Yes.
And that's what Michael Jackson and the Jackson 5 did for the world. It shifted us into a higher vibration, and people are celebrating him like he is walking the planet again, but his music lives forever. So his energy is still here. And why
Mhm.
are we having this response to this movie? We're having this response to this movie because what did he do? He helped to build our souls. He loved us through our music. He brought us together. I don't think that there's one other single tool on planet Earth that's created unity like music.
Mm.
I don't care, from people with the greatest speeches. Like, everyone, when you think about great speeches, you think about Martin Luther King. Of course, that
Yeah.
was Martin Luther King's intention, and his purpose was to bring unity, right? But even the civil rights movement had music that was a part of the movement, right?
Uh-huh.
So much of it. And so it is absolutely necessary for us, especially now, to stay whole and to stay in a state of, I would say, in a state of balance, that we learn how to use our mental faculties, but also open up our hearts, because that's where our creativity lives. And guess what? Music is the tool that does it better than anywhere than anything else. And I'm not just saying that because I'm a lover of music. I mean, this is backed by, clinical evidence, by peer review research, by, the receipts are out there
Yes.
when it comes
Yes, the
down to power
receipts
of
are for
music.
sure. And I mean, because as you know, you could travel and you could hear everyone, Michael Jackson's music. You hear music, it connects people instantly. And you can
Yes.
kind of remember where you were when you first heard a certain song.
Oh,
It takes you
absolutely.
back there to that.
Yeah,
Let's talk
absolutely.
a little bit about, you described that the woman that comes to you, she appears to have everything together.
Yeah.
However, internally, it's chaotic.
Yes.
Let's talk about what her life looks like before she comes to you, and then also a little bit about what it looks like after she
Okay.
works with you.
Absolutely. Well, this woman, first of all, she is the epitome of strength. People come to her all the time because she's brilliant and she is bold and audacious. And in the morning when she wakes up feeling stress and anxiety and heaviness because she's
Mhm.
carrying so much. And oftentimes these are learned behaviors. So she feels like this is the way it's supposed to be. Before her feet hit the floor, she's picking up the phone, looking at the responsibility. She hasn't even taken a full deep breath because she's so committed to her calling. And then, as she prepares for the work, for the day, and she makes sure that if she has kids or she has a partner, oftentimes she's making sure she's holding down all her roles as a partner, as a mom, and making sure that the home is in order. And then she goes off to her career, and she goes in headstrong. She says to herself, I got this, right? So she's
Mhm.
showing up looking good. She's looking fabulous on the outside. She has compassion. She looks like she has capacity. But then she gets in that car when that day comes to an end, and she is feeling lonely inside. She's feeling so much fatigue. She feels stressed. She's worried about the future. Some things that happened in the past, she's still locked in there. She hardly can sleep at night. Sometimes this woman is, her body is changing because her cortisol levels are there.
Mhm.
And she has a hard time saying, I'm not okay. Because she's been
Mm.
programmed to say, I'm all good. I'm fine. I got this. She's been programmed to lead while to be in a space where she's leading while she's bleeding. And that I was that woman for many years.
Mm.
So, and I've seen women, particularly in the entrepreneurial space, in the caring professions, pour into everybody and everything, but feel guilty about
Mhm.
pouring into themselves because it seems like they're taken away from, some a commitment, a purpose, a child, a client, a partner. So they find themselves oftentimes on, putting themselves on the back seat. And I'm calling that woman to come forward, because what happens, Vivian, because these are learned behaviors, because
Mhm.
a lot of times we are rewarded for these behaviors. You'll see the credentials behind the name, you'll see the house, you'll see the car, but you don't see this woman who is breaking, and who at some point is putting herself in a position to be diagnosed with something that could have been prevented,
Mm.
um, could have been reversed in time had she learned how to take care of her soul before everybody else. And that is what soul health is all about.
Mm.
It's her solution. And because you can't build a business with your nervous system being in a state of dis-ease, because that dis-ease can lead to disease. So that is the woman or the man, but most of the time it's the women who find me and who I work with in that capacity.
I see. And we call that over here sophisticated suffering up in our community.
I
Because
love
I mean,
that.
we have similar paths. And I believe, like you said, it's learned. It's not so much as taught. This is how you're supposed to be. You just observe. And also being leaders and nurturers by nature, we see a problem. We want everyone to be well. And we're going to make sure they're well, even if it's at our own detriment.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And it is rewarded to be in that state of flux all the time where you in fight or
Mhm.
flight. You know what I mean? Because but they're external rewards. No one sees and no one can feel the gravity of what so many women and men are carrying right now. And that's why we have a mental health crisis here in the United States, because a lot of what we're seeing is performative. We're not seeing authenticity. And when you're going to sign up for soul health, that radical self love forces you to become real with your problem and to address those soul toxins. And the reward for doing so is something that everyone deserves on planet Earth. It's called wholeness. So that soul health can lead to her wholeness. And that is what I truly believe that is needed right now, more so than anything. The path to the we have mastered brokenness. We get PhDs in brokenness, honey. We know
Yeah.
how to dress brokenness up all day long, right?
Hmm.
But the real flex is achieving wholeness.
Mm. I love it. Say that again one more time. The kids say,
The
clock
the
that.
the the real flex right now on planet Earth is achieving wholeness. That's our promised land.
Hmm.
And our freedom, as I like to refer to, is a frequency. So
Yes.
when we talk about freedom, people can look free all day long. It doesn't. You can have 5 to 10,000 square foot house and be miserable. You know, you can drive around in a Bentley and want to check out of here. So we have already watched people, and let me also say myself,
Okay.
learn how to pretend to be perfect and what that leads to. And most of the time, it leads to something that does not serve us at all. It leads to a health crisis. And so it is really the real flex is wholeness. We are no longer getting PhDs in brokenness. No, we earning our PhDs and becoming whole right now.
Exactly. I love that, the real flex. I love that. So you are also a full-time nurse. And given that situation, the whole dynamics you just explained, we all are master performers
Yes,
and pretenders, if we really want to call it, what for face value. But you're also carrying, you're conducting a full-time nursing career as well as you have your own coaching business. Is that right?
that's correct. Yes.
Now, how are you actually balancing between those two, to because a lot of people are in these dual roles.
Absolutely. Well, first and foremost, soul health is first and it is my priority. So, and it has to be because being a nurse, I do give my time, my energy, my I give everything everything I have to my clients when I am present with my clients.
Hmm.
And so it is absolutely important that when I wake up, I have a morning routine that connects me to the center to balance me. I'm checking in with myself. I have a playlist, obviously, that I have for everything, honey. I have like 60 playlists. So I pick a playlist to help me shift into the highest gear. And most importantly, the kind of nursing work that I do is so rewarding. I'm the happiest nurse I know, and I'm not performing. Joy is my medicine. And so I make sure before I walk into my client's home, because I do home health care for children with disabilities, that I am a healing experience all by myself. So I am coming there to share unconditional love as a nurse, which is the most powerful healing force on the planet. And with that, with me sharing unconditional love and receiving unconditional love, it continues to keep my energy high. So I'm always, as opposed to being in a position in nursing where my energy is being drained, my energy is constantly being restored on a regular basis.
Nice.
Not to mention, the other thing we must do, we must move. We must move our bodies. That keeps our,
Mhm.
so I have a career that also can be rather sedentary because I work in home health. So I make sure that throughout my week that I'm taking my nature walks, that I am staying in a constant state of abundance,
Mhm.
and that from and I talk to my people, my clients, through, because many of them, as I mentioned to you before, they have disabilities, and so we have a vibrational language. So they keep me in a present state of learning from them and also supporting clients who who will need my services to help them defeat chronic stress and burnout. I'm able to share with them the tools that I use in both environments, because it's all about, I take soul health wherever I go. Soul health, I never separate
Mm.
from soul health, you
Okay,
know
it sounds like it's an identity. It's not a garment that you put on and put off.
No,
It's an
it is
identity.
me. And it is the freest state you could possibly be in. You're absolutely right. Because I'm not smiling from my head because I'm supposed to smile from I'm smiling from my soul because
That's the shift. And
yes,
when that happens, yes, I can agree with that 100, because when that happens, it's ease at
it
that
is
point. Whatever
ease.
it is you're doing is considered ease. And so it's not, an outward, it's intuitive, if that makes sense.
Abs-
It's who you are, your identity.
Absolutely. Taking responsibility for the energy that you bring to every space heals it.
Exactly, exactly. Now, I know you have invested quite a bit in yourself, educationally, as well as in your business and so forth, like that. But most people don't talk about what it feels like, if their investment has not returned. The
Yes.
ROI ROI has not shown up. Okay.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So I wanted you to tell me what keeps you anchored in that season when one is going through that. What would keep them anchored?
So I would say that I am called to do what I am doing right now. I am called to support the collective with understanding the importance of musical medicine, and what keeps me anchored is that calling. What keeps me anchored is the fact that I know without the tools that I now share with others, I wouldn't be who I am. And it
Mm,
is my responsibility as a caring professional, as an advocate for humanity, as a lifer is someone who loves life and does the things that are necessary to support the health and well-being of life, that I share with you practices that are available to help you create a life filled with optimal health and wellness. So what keeps me anchored in that is that I know that if I continue to live in the frequency of joy, that is attractive for people who
mhm.
right now they are coping with chronic stress and they are looking for that joy. And guess what? Many times it's by surprise that my clients find me. I host health and wellness sessions on an app called Clubhouse, where on Saturday mornings we have a soul health and wellness party, right?
Mhm.
And many people will just find me coming into the wellness space and being totally transformed by this instrument, this musical instrument, through the blue soul genre, right? And so one of the things that I like to do when I see people gathering to hear the playlist that I curated and taking the ideas and the modalities that I share with them to help them to increase their frequency, to help them heal whatever the soul toxins are within their body, I know then at that point that I'm on the right path, right? So I put everything else in God's hands. I'm just going to show up and do what I'm here to do. And that is to shout the soul health is a solution, and musical medicine is something you have to integrate into your wellness strategy.
I see. Wow, I love that where you, like you say, you put everything in God. You got your anchor. That you put
Yes.
everything in God's hands, but also you expounded on how your clients find you as well, and that you are okay to release certain ones that are not your clients.
Oh yeah. Absolutely. Everybody's not for everybody is not for everybody.
Mm-hmm.
And so at the end of the day, we are now in a space where people are looking for wellness practitioners that are outside of the norm, that are beyond the traditional um, health and wellness space.
Mm-hmm.
And for music lovers, for people who want to learn more about sound frequencies, for people who want to learn how to detox toxins on a soul level at the root, this is root work.
Okay.
Healing is root work. Then um, I am a nurse that is definitely here to show them the way, and I'm very proud of the work that is being done in
Okay.
that
I love
capacity.
it. I love that for you. So let's talk a little bit about community. If you were to build, what is the exact community that you would like to have around you right now, where women who get to do the soul work and also get the business work, what would that look like for you?
It will look like the Soul Health and Wellness Club, honey, the community that I'm building right now.
Okay, well, that is
Yes.
lovely. That's lovely. Very much, yeah. So you're teaching business we as well
well,
as the soul and health and wellness.
here's what I believe. I believe that our business is to build a business from a soul level. That's what our business is. So I teach soul health and wellness to, women entrepreneurs, healers, coaches, people in the caring professions. And
Mhm.
the priority for me is to share with you that the soul is not separate from your business. You bring your soul into your business. Right. So, no, people, coaches like you, Vivian, wonderful coaches who teach about wealth and business. No, that's your lane. Right. But what I do is, you can't, and you know this, you cannot build a business in survival mode. You
No.
cannot build a business without clarity. You can't build a business being in fear. You can't build a business when you're stuck in an identity crisis. All of those are soul health issues. So, what
Mm.
I teach people is how to love your soul back to health. And the more you love your soul and you take that into your business, you can build an empire, baby, off of a balanced nervous system. And you can destroy a business or it never takes off if you don't do the soul work. So it is absolutely the heartbeat of a business.
That is so true because I mean I can recall and I often think back to when I initially started building the preschool business because I left the legal career and everybody thought I was crazy. They're like, "You
Mm,
leaving this to do that?" But I wanted to be home with my child.
mm.
And as a result, a business around her was the ideal way to take care of both being home with her and also being able to provide income. Now, I enjoyed being a mom. I did the skills assessment and I just knew that was something I enjoyed doing. And so it was easy, easy. I mean, I got up with the vigor and the commitment as I had when I was working for in legal,
Mhm.
but I got up because it fed my soul. It was what I wanted to do.
Yeah.
Now, fast forward into that, there became a season where it was, I have to do this, not I get to do this.
Right.
And when it transitioned, because I did lose myself in the process over the years, because it was supposed to be a period of time. I knew it wasn't the end game, but it was something I wanted to be there. It served its purpose.
Sure.
Now, what happens in that is fast forward, I lost track of that person, and then of course tried to figure out some other things, and went on to do other things in my life. And now I want to bring it to, I went into a different direction after, building other businesses and so forth, even having the proclamation. I mean, I have a senator's proclamation and all that, but I didn't feel fulfilled at that
Right.
particular season.
Your
So it's basically
soul
like
wanted
saying
something
my
else.
soul was no longer connected to it.
That's right.
I could receive the accolades outwardly, but internally it was not, I wasn't there. I was just checking the box. As you said, started out, we get to perform. We do our performance reviews. We do our performance.
That's right.
And more so recently, in recent years, I was like floundering in that. And I did a lot of different things, and I still do. And when I do them, I try to find that passion. I mean, at least I align with it first before I do it, not looking for it. I align with it and I move from there to the next step. There was a season where I was investing heavily in coaching, and from the best out there, the best.
Yeah.
And it wasn't landing. I didn't see the pop off. It wasn't popping off. The career, everyone says just do this, this, and this, because we know how to perform. We know how to hit a checklist. Do this, I did that, I did this. Okay, now where's the results? And they weren't matching. It wasn't until I came back from an extended retreat. The retreat was like for 3 days. I stayed probably another 4 or 5 days in that city just to really decompress, but also I received something while I was there. And it
What did
wasn't
you receive?
What I received was, you've learned from the best, but ultimately it's a trust issue. It's not them. It was a trust issue.
Mm-hmm.
It was a trusting myself to be aligned with, this is who I am now.
Your soul was talking to you. Yes.
And I kid you not, Latrice, I kind of ran from it. As you and I have talked about this before, I never wanted to be associated with that term, coach. I'm late to the party on most of the stuff, because even with the preschool thing, people are like, you do daycare. And I said, no, I don't do daycare. I do preschool. I educate. I don't want to be daycare lady. Don't ever put me with daycare.
Right.
And so I had to find my identity that I align with, rather than what the common or what society says this is what you do, or this is your industry per se.
Absolutely.
And so I share that with you because a lot of people, and I see a lot of women that go through that. They've been through the season for so long of they're doing what they were trained to do, went to school for, and they have no passion. And then I have some that are very passionate and they have no income.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I like to merge them together, and I do believe that you can live off of your passion and you can live richer with ease when they come together.
Absolutely. And I think now is the best possible time for people to learn how to build a business, a compassion based business, because a lot of times, we, as you mentioned before, we have been taught to live in our head and, kind of shut down the heart. And we have these terms, it's business, it's not personal, and all of this other stuff. Those are beliefs that we have coined. And here's the thing about soul work. It is an evolution. Who we were in our 20s are not who we are in our 30s, our 40s, our 50s, and so on. And so the soul came here to live and for you to experience the fullest expression of yourself, for you to become the best version of yourself. And so a lot of times what happens is we get comfortable in chapters and we resist growth. And so, but we want more. And what I tell people is that you can't be new and old at the same time. decide. It's like, you hear people talking about, I want to go to the next level. I want to elevate. Okay, great. And I love that, because that means you're ready to do the work. That means you're ready to release that previous chapter or that former identity, and shift into a higher dimension of yourself. That's all soul work. And right now on the planet, you have our planet is evolving in this direction. It looks like chaos on the outside, because,
Mhm.
like Vivian, as you described, you began to feel uncomfortable. You know what I mean? You began to feel that contention, you begin to feel that rub between what it is you want to do versus what you were currently doing. Well, we're doing the same thing here in the United States. It became a little, it's chaotic outside, because
Yes.
we're saying we were one thing, but our actions have proven that we are another. And so now we are at this really critical point as a collective of growth, and growth is messy in the middle. But what do we have to do? We have to deal with our soul toxins.
Mhm.
We have to be willing to release them so we can increase. We have to be willing to build, to love, to unite, and empower our souls personally. And that will be a reflection of who we can become collectively. And that's why soul work is so important, because everyone benefits from your soul work. You benefit personally from it. Everything you touch benefits personally from it. And we stop becoming pain projectors, where we're projecting our soul toxins upon each other and hurting each other. And then
Mhm.
what we can do now, we can start becoming projectors of love. We can start becoming projectors of wholeness, and we begin to support each other in that way. Listen, honey, I always tell people this. I was born to experience heaven on earth. I am not here for the hell. Okay. And that's I am not here for the hell. And soul health is how you create. It might sound corny, but soul health is how we can work to create heaven on earth. And we don't need a leader. We don't need a prescription. We don't need anything outside ourselves to do that. We can do that for ourselves and for each other.
I love it. I absolutely love it, because I too concur that you can experience heaven here on earth. It's not an outward experience, it's an internal job. And given that, what would you tell Latrice, younger Latrice, knowing
Ooh.
now what you know?
Oh, that is such a great question. I would tell her, girl, you are in for the ride of your life. What I would tell her early on is, I would tell her, before you start developing relationships with people outside of yourself, looking for the answer, you won't find it there. The answer is
Mm,
inside of you, and you are worthy of radical self love. Master it. It will lead to everything you want. That's what I would tell her. Master radical self love.
yes. And that is such a timely word for people today need to hear that as well. Someone in our audience, someone under our ear, under our voice, they need to hear that to help them, to support them. I moved away from the term
Absolutely.
of helping, but to support them in where they're evolving to, like you said, to grow. And what you shared when you were sharing about the growth perspective, changing, because growth requires change.
It does. I mean, I can't wear the same shoes I wore when I was 10 because my feet grew up. It is a part. It's why we're here. We're here
Yes,
to grow. All right. Everything on this planet is growing. I'm looking outside of my window. I'm looking at these beautiful trees. At one point they were seeds. I mean, everything is here to grow. And so we have to give ourselves permission to do that. And, we've invested in things like self care. You hear a lot about women investing in
mhm,
self care. And what I tell people all the time, it's a difference between self care and self love. Self care is usually the external, it's usually the mani and petties, the spa days, and all of that. Self love is on a whole nother level. Self love may get some people angry at you because you decided to choose you first, and it's okay that they're mad about it. Self self love is saying I am worthy and walking in that worthiness. Self love is saying, you know what? I have learned today that I might be suffering from some pain that was transferred to me through my mother's wounds or through the wounds of life. But today I have decided that I'm going to work on that. I'm worthy of releasing and living my life without pain. And
Mm,
and I am worthy of joy. It's you hear joy all the time, but joy is not something that is outside of you. Joy is inside. It was given to us at birth. And learning how to release the emotional states that is standing in your way of joy. So that when we learn how to do that, I mean,
mm,
you will have so many people that will discover that they were never living life in the first place. They were
yeah.
surviving life, but that's when you really began to feel what life is all about, when you can feel it within you and you don't need anything outside of you to feel fulfilled.
Mhm. Wow, wow. You just really summarized a whole lot of life skills in this conversation here, and also really the totality of becoming the woman and really coming back to yourself. Sounds like to me that's what, reminding people who they are. And that's one of our underlying cores here in at Live Richer with Ease, the freedom to be, the family to
Yes.
love, the finances to enjoy and share. And you just summarized it back to the core of being who you're being. And when you can do the self-love, not the
The
self-love of loving,
self-care.
the
Right.
self-care rather
Right.
than the self-love, the self-care. When you care for yourself, how much more you can shift and change the world. Just a quick question based on, our synopsis of living, we call it Live Richer with Ease, what you just shared a bit of. What does living richer with ease look like for you?
Mm. So, living richer with ease for me is something that has been evolving because I've done so much self work, right? And so, once you get to the point where you're like, okay, who am I now in this identity? You know, so living richer with ease for me is surrounding myself in places and spaces and around people who are a reflection of the work that I have done, so, a reflection of that love, that joy, that peace, that abundance, and being able to teach people about soul health, as many people who are willing to hear, to grow a community of people called blue lighters,
Mhm.
people who take responsibility for their health and their wellness, people who have compassion for self and others, and people who are willing through their work to serve as a model of what wholeness looks like so we can project wholeness. And I want and ultimately to have as many parties as possible. I love great wellness parties. So everywhere I go, um to experience all of we're here to truly enjoy about life, the fruits of life. So and be able to pass that down to my daughter. We hear a lot about, particularly in your world of wealth, right? Passing down an inheritance.
Mhm.
Along with that inheritance, I think what is most central and so important as a lot as we talk about generational wealth and legacy, pass down a legacy of wholeness as opposed to
Yes.
as opposed to another generation that we're passing out of brokenness. No, I want people to emancipate their souls so we can pass down wholeness along with the wealth, because when people are not in a state of I always say this, and I think you and I've had this conversation. When people are not in a state of wholeness, you'll find that wealth without um wellness is just not sustainable, baby. You
Nope.
just cannot. And at the pinnacle of you want optimal health. You don't just want a good health. You want optimal health and wellness. You want VIP health and wellness. That's wholeness. So that's
Mhm.
what it is for me. Being surrounded around people and places that are reflection of wholeness. That's what it looks like on every level. That's friends, families, clients. That's my reality. That's what it looks
Yes.
like.
Awesome. I love that. Now tell our community how to connect with you.
Okay. Well, there's a couple of ways you can connect with me. So if you want to experience the power of I am, that playlist that you were talking about, you want to experience musical medicine, I want your the audience to go to iamnurseblue.com, and you'll get on my newsletter, but immediately you're going to receive your prescription, the blue dose. And after you listen to it, I want to hear from you. How did you like it? What was the experience you had with it? All of that. I'm on all the social channels. So if you want to find me on LinkedIn, which is where I primarily am, Facebook, um, Instagram, I'm there, and just look under Nurse Blue, at Nurse Blue, or at I am Nurse Blue. I'm sorry. And then, of course, you can go to if you want to visit the Soul Health and Wellness Club, because it is a free community. I have a number of resources there. People can go and start learning about soul health, and sign up for one of my parties. You go to Soul Health Community. I'm sorry. What am I saying? Soul Health and Wellness Club.com. I'm sorry. soulhealthandwellnessclub.com. So, playlist, I am nurseblue.com, Soul Health and Wellness Club, soulhealthandwellnessclub.com. And that's how you can find me.
Now, is that spelled out and wellness?
Yep.
I'm going to put
soulhealthandwellnessclub.com.
okay. So I put it into the comments so that everyone can reach out and
Beautiful.
connect with you further. What you describe is why I created and why it was laid up on my heart. Really, I can't say I created, because what I received.
Yes.
What it's all about, to have these rich conversations, why it was made for real women doing the work internally, so that they can live richer with ease externally.
Yes.
And I appreciate you so much for being here and sharing your gifts with us and
Thank
doing
you
the
for
work.
having me. Thank you
Until
so much for having me, Vivian. And I
you're
love the work that
welcome.
you're doing. Thank you so much for supporting the work that I'm doing, and other creators who are out here in this space. And can I gift your audience? Can I give them a gift if they want to, go a little
Absolutely.
bit deeper? I am offering, as a member of the Soul Health and Wellness Club, a free 30-minute I Deserve Joy consultation, because they do
Oh,
deserve joy. And so for people who are like, you know what, I'm just not feeling that joy state. I need something else. I need some more energy. I want to lose whatever I am holding inside. I'm ready to do the work. Once they join the Soul Health and Wellness Club, they can go and get on and schedule their free consultation, and we can go from there.
thank you so much, Latrice. I appreciate that so much. Big hearts. It's such a generous gift of your giving,
Thank
and
you.
I hope that many will take her up on this opportunity. Nurse Blue from the Soul Health Wellness Club, we thank you for being here today. Until
Thank
next
you.
time, thank you.
Thank you.